everyone. Thanks for joining me today. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Anastasia and I'm the owner of Vegshe. And for those of you who are returning, welcome back. Today I'm going to talk to you about my experience with caffeine, the process of giving it up, and sort of what ended up happening during that process that I did and didn't expect. So to give you a little bit of a backstory, I have been drinking caffeine either in coffee or energy drink form since I was really young. And it sort of it's been years. So it's sort of just become a regular part of my life and my routine and my rituals. I didn't find out until later in life that the women in my family are particularly sensitive to caffeine, and I didn't really start to experience how sensitive until probably my mid-20s, and I just turned 32. So it's been a little while. I've been realizing that I was having some symptoms that were problematic, but I was ignoring them because of how much I enjoy caffeine. I just wasn't ready to say goodbye. So the primary reason why I decided to give up caffeine is because I suffer from TMJ. So in other words, I clench my teeth when I sleep. I don't just grind, but I clench. And what was happening was on a regular basis, I was getting these 3-day-long headaches that I just couldn't get rid of. And I mean, I've tried everything. I sleep with a custom night guard. I've been getting craniosacral treatments. I saw a chiropractor. I mean, I've seen specialists. I had x-rays and MRIs in my jaw, and everything is working the way it's supposed to be. I was just clenching in my sleep and getting these just debilitating headaches. And I basically did all the things that you're supposed to do except give up caffeine. And I knew in the back of my mind that as a stimulant that it was probably the final thing that I needed to take care of in order to make these headaches go away. But it just got to a point where I just couldn't keep avoiding it anymore. So now you know my reasons. I know we all have our own, and I'd love to hear what yours are in the comments below if you've recently tried to give up caffeine or you were successful. So my process was to basically wean myself off of caffeine so that I wouldn't experience too many negative symptoms or side effects. So first I started by calculating approximately how much caffeine I was having on a daily basis. And what I determined was that I was having about 250 milligrams a day. So taking that number, I broke it down into a schedule of decreasing my intake by 25% a week for about 4 weeks. So I gave myself a month to completely go from 250 milligrams to 0. So what ended up happening during that time was interesting. So one, I didn't get any headaches from taking in less caffeine because I did it slowly. So some people quit cold turkey and then you get headaches and you feel like crap. I wasn't down for that. I don't like having headaches and I already get enough of them. So by decreasing weekly, I didn't experience anything like that. But I did take some notes as I was going through this process of some of the weird stuff that did happen because I thought I might forget. So the first thing that I noticed was the very first night that I decreased caffeine, like by just a little bit, I had a nightmare that I was walking through Circle K and there was no coffee and no one would help me, and like all of the coffee pots were empty. So that was a little bit weird. Second night, same thing. I had a dream that I was sitting and drinking coffee while my dream was happening. So I definitely was having some like mental resistance to the idea of getting rid of caffeine. The thing that was interesting that second morning was that I slept super well, but I had a hard time getting out of bed. And so that was a little weird for me because usually my alarm goes off, or I don't even have an alarm. I mean, my dogs really. My dogs are my alarm, but I usually get up right at 7 a.m. without an alarm, sometimes a couple minutes before. I'm not someone who sleeps in. And so it was weird because I woke up at 7 like I normally do, but I felt like heavier and it just felt hard to like get up out of bed, which like I said, isn't like me. I usually pop right up and I start my day. So that was kind of interesting. A couple days after that, I realized that maybe I was never a morning person, that was just the caffeine all along, which is fine. Some people aren't morning people, but I discovered I might not be. So within about a week of having decreased my caffeine intake, I started to lose my appetite, which is really weird for me because usually when I get hungry, I get like hangry, and it's very much like we need to eat now. And my appetite completely went away. And you know what? I haven't had caffeine in more than a month now, and my appetite still hasn't come back. So that's been a little bit unusual for me, given that I exercise pretty frequently. But on the plus side, I haven't been crashing and feeling jittery. So before, when I would get hungry, it was like this blood sugar crash, and then I like this caffeine jittery feeling, and it was awful, and it was really uncomfortable, and I would get kind of shaky. I think since I gave up caffeine, I haven't had that feeling. So I pretty much just eat on my regular schedule, which is like like every 3 hours or so, and I'm fine with that. Like, I'd rather not feel starving. I'd rather just be eating consistently and maintain like a healthy blood sugar. Excuse me. So that's been one weird thing, is the appetite. So another side effect of giving up caffeine that's been interesting is that I don't require as many hours of sleep. So I used to go to bed at 10 and wake up at 7, which is 9 solid hours of sleep. Now I have to go to bed at 11 to wake up at 7 because I don't need the full 9 hours. I only need about 8. The other thing I've noticed is I sleep more deeply, and so my dreams are more vivid, and I often wake up remembering them. And I used to kind of remember my dreams, but not quite like this, and I never used to sleep as deeply as I do. So that's been kind of interesting. And then I think the most important thing out of all of this is that I haven't had any TMJ headaches. So I started giving up the caffeine 2 months ago. I've been completely off of it for a month. So I've gone 2 months without a TMJ headache, which is sort of a miracle for me, given all of the things that I've tried to do to get rid of these stinking headaches, and for how many years that I've been dealing with them. So overall, this has been a really good experience for me. It was definitely the right thing to do for my body, and it's just been overall a good experience, and it was the right thing. So as much as I miss my morning coffee, there are other things I can drink in the morning. There are all kinds of wonderful teas and you know, caffeine-free options that can sort of fill that morning ritual that I was used to having. So as much as I miss it, it's definitely been the best thing for me. So that's what I have for you for today's video. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, make sure to like this video and comment below with your experience of giving up caffeine, what worked, what didn't work, and what has your experience been like. Thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you here again soon. Take care, everybody.